What is going on, my friends? Hank here. A few years ago, way back in January of 2023, we did a little what-if paint job here on the channel of an M1 Abrams tank in Ukrainian service. This came following the news that the US had agreed to send a batch of Abrams MBTs to assist the Ukrainian forces in the defense of their country, but before any of them had actually been fielded in that war. Well, here we are, nearly 3 years down the road, and a whole slew of Abrams, as well as other contemporary Western MBTs like the Leopard 2 and Challenger 2, have been duking it out on the front lines. In any conflict, tank crews have to adapt and modify their mounts to meet new and unexpected challenges that they face on the battlefield, and the men fighting in the defense of Ukraine are no exception. And as a result, we've seen the M1 Abrams silhouette that we've come to know and recognize for years adopt some new kit to prepare the stalwart 40-plus-year-old Abrams platform for the battlefields of the 2020s. So today, we're going to make a new Ukrainian Abrams with some of the modifications that we've actually seen in the field during the Russo-Ukrainian War. And obviously, guys, we're discussing an ongoing conflict affecting millions of real people trying to live their lives out in the real world. So let's try and be factual, respectful, and civil down in the comments. Thank you. To start out today, we've got a fully built-up 1/35th scale Tamiya Abrams kit with a full application of Ammo MIG anti-slip texturing applied to the horizontal surfaces of the vehicle. Our first big step here is going to be to slap about 1.5 billion ERA bricks all over this guy. I picked up this pack of 264 3D printed Contact 1 bricks from Dan Models up on Amazon. I'll have a link down in the description below if you'd like to check them out. To get these ready for application, we just have to give them a little bath in some soapy water and trim off the print support mounts. Once the pieces are all cleaned up, they can easily be attached to our model with a bit of superglue. If you've seen just about any Soviet-designed tank in service with the USSR or any former Soviet states since the mid-80s, you've definitely seen these little ERA bricks before. ERA, or explosive reactive armor, has become a very common sight in its many forms on armored vehicles as a defense mechanism against shaped charge rounds, or chemical rounds like heat, high-explosive anti-tank rounds. These little guys, called Contact 1, are probably the most famous and recognizable type of ERA and have been used by former Eastern Bloc militaries since 1985. We could do a whole video on how these work, which sounds like a great idea actually, so stay tuned on that. But essentially, each of these 12-pound hollow bricks have two spicy little sandwiches inside, consisting of explosive filler squished between two thin sheets of steel. When the explosive stream of a shaped round comes into contact with these sandwiches, the filler detonates and flings metal sheets in different directions, effectively redirecting or disrupting the incoming round's penetrating charge and reducing or negating its effectiveness. Long story short, these relatively inexpensive bricks are super easy to attach to the outside of a tank and provide an additional line of defense on top of the vehicle's standard armor plating. So not terribly surprisingly, as we've now seen in photos of Abrams tanks in action in this war, the Ukrainian armed forces have leveraged their trusty Contact 1 to reinforce their new mounts. So, 264 ERA bricks later, it is now time to move on to our next little battlefield application for the Abrams. If you look at armored vehicles in service in really any war zone today, one thing that's become nearly universal is the addition of ad hoc cage structures covering the turret and horizontal surfaces of the vehicles. These have earned the tongue-in-cheek name cope cages among the legions of keyboard warriors out there. We're going to add our own little field-applied cope cage on our Abrams using some wire mesh, superglue, and some thin sheets of styrene. I'll have links to all the products you're going to need down in the description below. Essentially, these cage structures are intended to help protect or help tank crews, quote-unquote, cope with top attack aerial munitions targeting the softer upper surfaces of a tank. The first of these that we really started seeing were popping up on Russian tanks as a defense against Western anti-tank guided missiles, ATGMs, like the Javelin system, though the effectiveness of such a structure in protecting against tandem charge weapons is kind of dubious. But the reason we're starting to see these cope cages on just about every expensive armored vehicle putting around today is not guided missiles, but a significantly less flashy adversary: drones. The widespread introduction of FPV, or first-person view drones, during the war in Ukraine has quite possibly been one of the most impactful technological changes in modern warfare that we've seen over the past few years. Forces on both sides of the war have started to use thousands of tiny, cheap, racing-style quadcopter drones as loitering munitions to either drop warheads onto enemy vehicles or to execute kamikaze-style attacks with warheads into enemy vehicles themselves. This revolution now allows a single soldier using a sub $500 drone to eliminate a multi-million-dollar piece of equipment without putting themselves anywhere near the enemy force. This has proven to be an absolute nightmare and a serious threat to crews on both sides of the conflict, and as a result, tank crews have been forced to accommodate to this new formidable foe. Unlike their use against ATGMs, these cage systems have actually proven to be effective in defending against drone attacks, either by physically catching a warhead and preventing it from striking the surface of the tank, or by acting as a kind of standoff armor and detonating a kamikaze drone before it can actually strike the actual armor of the tank. So just like the other armored vehicles we've seen on the battlefields of Ukraine, the Abrams has received its own ad hoc field-applied cage armor to defend against the drone threat. Each of these cages is going to be a little different, so don't worry about copying exactly what I'm doing here. These crews are figuring this out in real time to achieve the best protection for their mounts. These are not factory-applied, out-of-the-box solutions, so don't worry about being too precise with any of this. Once we have both of our applique armor systems attached to our model, it's finally time to move on to some painting. We'll start, as always, with a coat of black primer to give us a nice base to work up from. For our base layer of camouflage, we're going to use some of this ammo Residigron. It's actually pretty close to the tone we're seeing on Ukrainian equipment in the field right now. With that base camo down, let's start to pull out some tones on our various ERA bricks to add some interest there. No real rhyme or reason here, just pick some nice green camouflage tones and paint in the surfaces of the bricks randomly across the tank. Some bricks can be lighter, some bricks can be darker. This all helps accentuate the hand-applied applique nature of this protection system. To distinguish our cage from the rest of the tank, let's brush in a bit of German field gray onto the steel beam portions of the construction. And then let's dry brush a bit of white aluminum all over the mesh of the cages themselves to pull out the details a bit more. And for a nice little national insignia touch, let's accentuate a couple of these ERA bricks with the Ukrainian colors, medium blue on top and some zinc chromate yellow on the bottom. With our painting work complete, let's spray the whole kit with some gloss varnish to prepare for weathering. We're going to do some simple, gritty weathering today, an all-over sludge wash of fluory dark clay-based wash thinned down with a bit of tap water. Let's brush that all over the surface of the vehicle, and then we'll come back and remove our excess. Using a damp paper towel, we can now start to wipe off the excess wash product that we don't want on the raised surface of our tank, leaving just some grime and artificial shadow in all the lovely little details of the model sculpt. This technique works particularly well on a vehicle like this with all the independent ERA bricks and the nice anti-slip texturing on the horizontal surfaces. Once our wash has dried completely and we're happy with the result, let's spray the whole kit with a coat of matte varnish to seal in our work and knock down the excess shininess from our initial gloss coat. Now, at this stage, if you wanted, you could stop here. We've got a pretty formidable Abrams all decked out with a package of Contact 1 and an anti-drone cage. But I decided to add a little extra camouflage netting to my Abrams for an additional layer of defense. If you saw my recent video on creating modern camouflage netting for the Leopard 2, we're going to be leveraging some of that extra material from that project for our Abrams. If you would like to check out that video, I'll link to it right here. But essentially, we're just going to use some super glue to stretch this aftermarket camo netting over some of the upper surfaces of our model. Once again, no real rhyme or reason here. This is a field-applied modification, so don't beat yourself up about being crazy precise with the mounting positions. Take a peek at some reference images and kind of use that as inspiration. And now, with a little extra camouflage, we've got ourselves a really nice likeness of the Abrams we're seeing in the defense of Ukraine. Since the beginning of tank warfare, crews have had to adapt their mounts to adjust for new threats faced in each generation of warfare. German Panzers added Schutzen to defend against Soviet anti-tank rifles, American Shermans added logs and concrete, and Soviet T-34s added bed springs to protect against Panzerfausts. The cope cages and copious application of ERA that we see today are really not any different. Crews adapt to survive. I hope you guys got something out of today's video and can use some of these techniques for your own contemporary armor builds. As always, thank you for tuning in, my friends, and until next time, be well, happy building, cheers.